Hello, welcome to this week's staff brief. Apologies, we're a little late starting. A couple of technical hitches that had to be ironed out. Jess in the background of Jess Baxter in our comms team sorted it out. So we're good to go now. And with me today, I've got Maggie Mcmanus, our Deputy Chief Operating Officer, and the main topic of conversation with the current winter pressures and the upcoming industrial action. Just before we turn to Maggie, a couple of general updates from me. So this year there will be a Christmas thank you, a little festive thank you from everyone on the Sherwood Board of Directors and the executive team in the shape of a voucher for a free hot drink and a mince pie. And this is to recognise everyone's really hard work. We're going to talk about current pressures and winter pressures in a short while, but this is a real recognition of your continued dedication and commitment to enable us to continue to provide safe and compassionate care to our patients. And we understand the pressures that everyone's facing, both here at work on site in our hospitals, but also at home. And it's important that we continue to be kind, not only to ourselves, but to each other. So this is a little gift as a token of our thanks for everything that you do. So how will you get the voucher? So each and every colleague will receive a thank you card, which will include the voucher. Those are being distributed as we speak. Some of you may have already got them, but they'll be with you over the next couple of days. And the hot drink and mince pie will be available from Wednesday. So that's Wednesday the 14th. Through to Friday, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of this week, and then Monday and Tuesday of next week. And you can redeem the vouchers at the Daffodil Cafe at Kings Mill, at the cafe at Mansfield Community Hospital, and the Volunteer Cafe at Newark Hospital. So look out for the cards and vouchers arriving in your department this week, and take advantage of our little token of thank you. So it's staff brief. So clearly I need to mention flu and COVID vaccinations, and continue to encourage everyone to take up their vaccinations. So we know that over 60% of colleagues have had flu vaccination so far. We did better than that last year, so we're hoping that more will take it up. A shout out to the medicine division who've had the highest uptake so far with nearly 57%. So well done, medicine. Look out for teams who are visiting wards and departments throughout the week, offering the vaccinations for people who've yet to take them up. We've also got peer vaccinators on most wards who can provide you with a flu vaccination, and you can book your vaccination online for either flu or COVID, and Jess will be posting the links in the chat function. For those who receive a flu jab, you'll also be given a free meal voucher to be used in the Spice of Life restaurant. And don't forget that with flu on the increase, we're seeing an increased number of patients, certainly across the trust. It's important that you get your vaccination, not just to protect yourself, but also your team and our patients. Thank you for that. Lastly, from me, another one of our Meet Your Governor events is taking place this week. That's at Kings Mill this week, and you can find your governor in the King's Treatment Centre tomorrow from 9 until 11. So that's Wednesday, 9 until 11 in the morning, and on Thursday between 1 and 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Okay, thank you. So if you've got any questions, please post them in the chat as we go, and we'll try and address them as we go and at the end of the brief. And with that, Maggie, I'll invite you to give us an update. We've got a huge amount of pressure in the organisation. We've been on our highest escalation rate for well over a week now. We've got more beds open than we've ever had open. And we still start the day with up to 20 patients waiting in ED for a bed. So intense pressure, and we've got industrial action upcoming. So I know you're able to give us an update on all of those things. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Hi everybody. It's nice to see you all again. It's a little while since I've been invited to staff brief. I'm hoping that's not because of any previous performance. It's just because there've been lots of other interesting things that we needed to talk about. However, as I am here, you would expect me to talk about the current pressures that we are under, what we are doing for winter in some respects, and then also the industrial action, because I know that that will be worrying quite a few people. So I'm here today to tell you a little bit about what we know, what we've planned for, and what we think may happen over the next few weeks. So if we just start off with, we will have heard about industrial action. We will have heard it from friends, colleagues, staff in other organisations, and from the press. We know that there's a number of strikes that have been planned across the country. And they will be occurring before Christmas, affecting patients who require community, acute hospital and also ambulance services. So pretty much across the board, anybody who requires any sort of health or social care, not social care, health care over the coming weeks. This comes at a time, as Paul's already mentioned, that when in the hospital and in our integrated care system as a whole, we have seen our highest levels of pressure. We're under increasing and sustained pressure, spending lots of time in our highest levels of escalation and finding it really difficult to move out of that level of escalation. And that's not because people aren't trying their hardest to resolve the situation as they come and see patients as quickly as they can, discharge patients as quickly as they can. It is an increase in the number of people that are attending our ED, but also our inability to discharge patients to their ongoing care. As a system and across the country, we are struggling to recruit the numbers of people that are required for home care, which is one of the destinations that a lot of our patients move on to when they leave hospital. So we're struggling as a system to have that sufficient home care capacity for people to return to their own homes, which means that they remain in hospital longer than they need to. We are working across the system to try and resolve those things, or at least mitigate them to the extent that we can. And we have a winter plan in place, both within the organisation and across the system, where we've worked hard with colleagues internally and in our partners to explore and mitigate what we can and put things in place that are probably a bit beyond what we've done already, to try and make sure that as we see those extended periods of pressure, we are able to try and mitigate as much as we possibly can. Whilst all of these things are in place and we have plans, we do have two main asks of yourselves and your colleagues across the organisation. So we all need to share the things that we can do to help manage the pressures that we're facing. So we need to be able to prepare to discharge patients as early as possible each day, do as much of the work as we can for patients discharged the day before, and make sure that we're having face-to-face discharge conversations with every patient in the hospital every day. But we also want to remind you that we care about you and your ability to sustain your work balance. So you need to ensure that you stay rested when you're outside of work, refuel when you're at work, take drinks, rehydrate throughout the day, especially when things are busy, which I know sometimes is the hardest time for you to do it. So don't seek permission for these things. These are things that you are able to do every day. So with that backdrop, coming on to the industrial action, what I'd like to just set out for you is kind of what we know, when we know it's planned for, and then what we've done to prepare for it as an organisation. So what we know is a number of trade unions have already indicated their intention to ballot their members at Sherwood Forest hospitals about plans to take industrial action in response to a range of matters relating to pay and working conditions. So we know that. Whilst the resolution of these concerns are a matter for the government and the trade unions to resolve together, we all hope to see a speedy resolution as soon as possible for all of our friends and colleagues across the NHS and other organisations providing healthcare. Whilst this process unfolds, however, we're keen to keep you up to date, and I'm here to talk to you today about what's happening at Sherwood Forest and the support available to you, your colleagues and your patients at the time of strike and leading up to it. So the dates that strikes are planned for. So as of the 28th of November, no trade unions with members at Sherwood Forest hospitals have confirmed industrial action here at SFH. However, we do know that strikes are taking place on the following days locally. So Thursday the 15th, so that is this Thursday, and Tuesday the 20th of December, so next Tuesday, the Royal College of Nursing members at Nottingham University hospitals, Notts Healthcare Trust and across our integrated care system, so that's Nottingham and Nottinghamshire, will go out on strike. We also know that on Wednesday the 21st and Wednesday the 28th of December, trade union members at East Midlands Ambulance Service will go out on strike, and that will affect their response to some of their emergency and less urgent calls. Now we'll call them less urgent calls. They're categories 2 and 3, so they are still quite urgent, but they are at the moment categorising them as their less urgent calls. We also know that our junior doctors will be balloted and our midwifery colleagues have been balloted. So there may be further ballots from unions in the new year. And as soon as any of the precise dates of any further industrial action is confirmed, then we will let you all know. For us at Sherwood Forest, although no staff are currently due to take strike action here at Sherwood Forest on the dates already mentioned, we do know that we may be impacted both directly if our own staff vote for strike action in the upcoming ballots, and also indirectly with knock-on effects from other organisations within our Nottingham and Nottinghamshire integrated care system, in the main NUH and Notts Healthcare Trust. So I suppose that there's two big takeaway messages today. Excuse me. The first one really is that actually as an organisation we have been planning for this. So we've known about the possibility for a while, and we are as prepared as we can be as an organisation for industrial action that we know about. We have a trust-wide planning team in place, and that's been in place for a little while, with members from all disciplines who meet regularly to review and respond to the latest information as it becomes available. The group also includes representatives from our trade unions and is updated with information from our partners so that we can understand the potential effects on them and us and our patients across the system of any industrial action. We know that local strikes will have an impact on places like our emergency department, with a possibility of increased attendances on the days of the strike and possibly the days before and the days after. The extent of that impact we won't know until the day, but we have processes in place to monitor during the days before, during and immediately after, and pre-prepared plans to help with any increases should they occur. Patient safety is our #1 priority, and this might mean that we have to postpone a small number of appointments for patients to prioritise those in most need, to ensure that we can provide safe care across all of our services. I can say from today that we have currently not planned to cancel any appointments However, the occasion that might occur is if we become overwhelmed with emergency patients on the day. The plans that we have will step up as Thursday approaches, and we have robust on-the-day plans in place to ensure that we're able to respond to any changes on the days of the strikes. We'll keep you posted with what you need to know and what you can do to respond as more becomes clear over the next coming days. The second point to take away from today is around support for our hard-working colleagues across the organisation. So we want to be clear how valued you are as a member of Team SFH and reiterate how much the organisation, its leaders, your colleagues and our patients that you serve value the important work that you're doing. We understand the importance of good pay and conditions for you and the organisation, not least in helping us to keep dedicated and hardworking individuals like yourself within Team SFH. We know that this will be an unsettling time for you, and we wanted to restate our comment that we will do everything that we can to ensure that you're properly supported over the months ahead. And we are here to listen. If you have any concerns, any comments or any feedback about any of the issues that are coming up over the winter or with the industrial action, we are here to listen. And you can contact myself, the Chief Operating Officer, Paul, any of the executive or divisional teams with your concerns or comments. I know you'll have a number of questions about the upcoming industrial action, which is why we've set up a dedicated industrial action page on our intranet to support you. You can access that page from the homepage of our intranet, and we will also share a link to that page in the chat. That page also has a host of Q&As on there to help answer some of the most frequently asked questions. We're happy to take any questions on anything that you've just heard. What I will say, however, is from a in-depth HR kind of point of view, I may not be the right person on the call to do that, but I will more than gladly take that back to our HR colleagues and get a response for you immediately. I'll share one final reminder just to check out the Industrial Action internet page for the latest on planned industrial action. And as soon as we know anything more, we will update you on the effect on you, your colleagues, and our patients. Thank you.
Thanks, Maggie. Very comprehensive. Lots in there. So I think my sort of takeaways from certainly the industrial action update is we understand the position that trade unions and their members are taking across the country and why industrial action is being taken. We're planning for the impact of those days of industrial action here at Sherwood, and colleagues can keep updated on those by visiting the intranet page. And there's some frequently asked questions, and if there are some outstanding questions, then please raise them with divisional leadership teams, with yourself, or indeed with me or any member of the executive team, because we really want to make sure that everyone is fully up to speed and understanding exactly the situations that we're in. So we've got a question on this topic. Are there any rules about if we are free to post opinions about industrial actions on social media? So my response to that would be refer to the social media policy. I think if you're posting personal views which aren't then associated with the trust, they're your personal views, but any association with the trust, I think you need to be really careful and understand the intranet use, the internet use, the social media policy that we have in the trust. So Jess, if you could ensure that we distribute a link to that policy. It's on the intranet, so if we can distribute that perhaps in our bulletin this week, then everyone is clear around what their responsibilities are in respect of posting opinions on social media. Okay, there's a second question. Can you share what plans are in place for winter? So Maggie, have you got a sort of a summary of those actions that we've already taken to open capacity, and what more we might be doing in the next week or two?
Okay, so to start off, there will be some comms coming out about our winter plans, just so that people can see what we are planning to do over the winter. But so what we've done so far from October, we have completed a rigorous demand and capacity piece of work based on external and internal trajectories for what we think might come, and from that we have put a number of things in place around opening additional capacity down at Mansfield Community Hospital. You will have seen that we now have Oakham down there, which is open, and we've increased the beds this week to increase our overall beds. There are a number of beds across the organisation, again down at Mansfield Community Hospital, that are due to open later on throughout the winter. We're also working with system colleagues to improve rotas for home care capacity. So something that I talked about when we were discussing the winter pressures. Home care capacity is a real problem for us as a wider system and also nationally, but we have a fairly successful process with Notts Healthcare, which allows us to utilise similar rotas to allow us to fill up some of those gaps. Also, as a system, we are looking at our discharge to assess capacity and trying in all organisations and across the system to increase that capacity, to reduce the number of patients that we are sending out to other organisations that we wouldn't generally want to send them to, because it's not the best journey that they should have. Also, we've got our optimising patient journey improvement project, which is looking at how we discharge patients in a more timely way earlier on in the day throughout the organisation, which will allow us to take advantage of that capacity much earlier in the day. We know that we suffer sometimes from late discharges for our patients, which then mean that we miss cut-off times for some of the care homes and things in the surrounding area. So there's a lot going on both internally and externally that we are keyed into, that feed into the winter plan. But as I say, there will be some comms coming out imminently that will give a better explanation of what those are.
Thank you. Thanks, Maggie. Really comprehensive answer there. I'm going to get other questions at the moment. What I would do, just take the opportunity to remind people. I was talking earlier about the voucher for the hot drink and mince pie, to recognise the hard work and commitment that everyone is giving and continues to give. But I forgot to mention that the Spice of Life restaurant is offering the 50% off all hot meals for everyone for all our colleagues across Sherwood Forest. So that's in the both at Kingsmill, at Newark, and at Mansfield Community. So I forgot to mention that earlier. So that's really important. That and also I remember that last week I had to make it really clear it does not include Costa, although we might want it to, but it doesn't include Costa. Only in those MediRest facilities called Spice of Life. Okay, so I can't see any further questions. So I'll draw it to a close. Thanks, Maggie. That was a really comprehensive run through current pressures and industrial action. I hope everyone feels up to date on that and can continue to keep up to date through the intranet, or indeed raising questions as you go. A really important message that you also gave, Maggie, about, you know, we really want to support everyone in the organisation. We really recognise your efforts and commitment, and hope that we're doing enough to do that. Please let us know what more we can do to help through those routes of your divisional leadership team and the executive team. Please let us know how we can help further. Okay, no further questions. So with that, I'll thank you, Maggie, for joining us. Thanks, Jess, in the background, and thank everyone for attending. Hope to see you all again next week. Goodbye.